Hey, you old hag. Where's my money? Just how long are you going to try and keep me waiting before you cough up what's mine? Huh? Don't you know that you're supposed to give me my allowance today? I thought I told you that I wanted you to pay me on time every single day. Or is that too hard to figure out for a stupid woman like you? Ginny, I believe that you and I have already talked about your allowance. I told you that last month was going to be the last time that I gave you any money, remember? I told you that because you were starting college that you would be on your own, remember? I explained to you that the allowance would end when you finished high school. We talked about this and you said that you understood what I was saying. What on earth are you talking about? I never, ever remember talking about anything like that at all. You were just delusional and trying to cheat me out of what's rightfully mine. But now I just need you to shut up and pay me. I'm sick of waiting and I'm even more sick of talking to you. Look, I have told you that I am not going to be paying you anything anymore, okay? And just why do you want money from me so badly? Why can't you go and ask your father for these kinds of things? I knew it. I knew there was no point in trying to talk to a fake mother like you. You know, I never even wanted you to marry my dad, right? I was fine when it was just the two of us. You always ruin everything. If you knew what was good for you, you would just shut up and pay me. There's no need to make things this complicated. I'm sorry, Jenny, but if that is the way that you were going to ask for money from me, then I feel even less inclined to pay you than before. Well, it's all your fault that my dad doesn't have any money. I know that you've been using up every last cent of his. He told me all about it. He explained to me how you handle the budget for the house, and that means that you control all of the money. But all I heard when he was telling me that is that you're taking my dad's hard-earned money and using it all for yourself. It's so sad. I can't believe that my dad has been tricked like this. I just wish he would leave you already. You know, sometimes I think about leaving too. But the thing is that isn't a decision that you'll get to make for anyone. That is going to be something that your dad and I talk about and come to a decision on amongst ourselves. But let me make this very clear to you. I am not stealing money or holding your father financially hostage in any way, shape, or form. Okay? I think you might want to go ask your dad about what's really going on one more time. You really have got some nerve, do you know that? Just what makes you think that I want to hear what some old hag like you has to tell me? Anyways, I think I've made myself clear here. Just get the money ready and send it to me as soon as possible, okay? No, it's not okay at all. If you really need money that badly, go and find a job. Daniel, I have seriously had it. I mean it. I am really at my limit right now. I mean, just how long are you going to let Ginny act the way that she does? She is seriously so unbelievable sometimes. Do you know that she thinks that I'm taking all of your money and spending it on myself? This is seriously getting ridiculous.
Aw, come on. She's not that bad. You're just being overdramatic. Besides, you know how girls her age are. But you're the adult. You should just know how to take it and let things slide, right? Surely that isn't too much to ask of you.
Daniel, I am serious. I have half a mind to leave you both. And if nothing happens to change the situation, then I just really might. I mean, just a few minutes ago, she was asking me again about her allowance. But I told her that when she started college that I wasn't going to be giving her any money at all. I told her that if she wanted someone to give her money, she would either have to get a job and get paid by her boss or go and talk to you.
Laura, please. Don't you think you're just being a little bit stingy? You really need to learn to just let things slide and quit getting so upset over everything. I mean, you do know that if you get upset like that you're only going to give yourself more wrinkles, don't you?
Wow. Well, thank you so much for caring about the state of my face. I'm so glad to know that I have people who listen to what I have to say around here. But I have to say that in the 10 years that we've been married, I feel like I've aged at least 30 years. And I think it's high time I try and make up for all the time I've lost dealing with you and Ginny. So you can pack up your bags and just get out right now, Daniel. Hey, you old hag, what the heck is going on here, huh? You better start explaining things to me right now. Hello, Jenny. I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. It's been a while since we've last talked, hasn't it? Is there something that I can help you with? Do you have any idea how pissed I am at you right now? How dare you try and take that attitude with me? Jenny, I really don't think there is any reason to be talking to me like that, even over text. Now, I have no idea what's got you so upset, but I can guess that this little outburst is going to be followed by you trying to ask me for something. I know that I only became your daughter when you married my dad, but that still makes me kind of like your real daughter, right? Wait, what? I have to say that after all that anger and vitriol, I really wasn't expecting you to say something like that. Well, what I mean is that if you're my mom and I'm your daughter, then you need to pay for my school. If you don't, then I'll talk to my dad and make him divorce you. Is that something you want? Wait, what? What is going on here? I just got a letter from my school telling me that my tuition still hasn't been paid. Do you have any idea how embarrassed I was to get that? I went to talk to my dad to ask him why my school wasn't paid for yet, and he told me that you two said that you would pay for it all. So, what I want to know is why you haven't paid my tuition for my program yet, huh? Do you want me to have to drop out or something? Okay, hold on just a second there. First of all, I never, ever said that I was going to be paying for your tuition. Second of all, just why would I be the person paying for your schooling anyways? I mean, you're still living in that house, right? Just when are you going to move out? You really have some nerve to talk to your daughter this way. Honestly, I don't think anyone else in the whole world knows how to piss me off quite like you do. But did you miss the part where I said that I would have my dad divorce you? Because I really will if you're not going to pay for my school. Unless your whole plan this entire time has been to sabotage my education and make me quit. But I won't let you get away with that. It's just unacceptable and you need to cough up the money right now. You really must think the world revolves around you if you think that's any way to get what you want. In fact, reading your messages, I can't help but crack up laughing that you're actually serious about this. Are you kidding me right now? Is that how unseriously you're taking all of this? You have got to be joking with me right now, right? No, I'm very serious actually. But anyways, I guess if you're really saying all that, that means you haven't heard anything from your dad, right? What do you think you're talking about? Didn't you read how I went to my dad and he told me that since you weren't going to pay for my schooling that it would mean that I'd have to drop out? So that's why you need to cough up the money for my tuition right now. If you don't, then I'm really going to make my dad leave you. I am not your mom anymore, Jenny. Wait, what? What are you talking about this time? Wow, you really don't know about this at all. That's actually incredible. Well then, I guess allow me to be the first person to inform you that your father and I have gotten a divorce. In fact, we've been divorced for quite some time now. So if your dad really did tell you that I was going to be paying for your school, then I'm afraid that he was as sorely mistaken as you are. After all, why in the world would I pay for some girl's school who isn't even a part of my family? Wait a second. You mean it? You and my dad are really divorced and you're really not my mom anymore. Oh man, I really wish that I could see your face right now. But yes, in a nutshell, that is what's going on here. And if I can be honest with you, your father was nothing but lousy trash. What is that supposed to mean? I mean that he was using all of his salary to pay off his debt up until recently, but he would also keep taking out loans in the meantime. And anyway, since he was so bad with money and never was good at setting any aside, that's why he can't afford to pay for your school. So I suppose that if you really want to stay in your program, that you'll have to go and earn money yourself. Although I did warn you that you'd have to earlier. But that can't be right. What do you mean that my dad doesn't have any money? You're really trying to tell me that this is all his fault? Jenny, you are not a little girl anymore. You are in college. Do you really just go through life not thinking deeply on anything? Have you really not realized that every time you needed money, it was me that was giving it to you? For 10 years, I've taken care of you as my own daughter. And I would financially support you just like a mother would her own daughter. But I guess you never, ever thought of it in that way, did you? No, it's not like that at all. I always thought that you were paying me with money that my dad was earning. Well, I'm afraid that the money your dad was earning was all going towards his own debt. Every cent that I gave you came from my own earnings. I took care of everything in the house, kept my job, and made sure that you got the support you needed. And yet you insisted on insulting me, calling me an old woman and treating me as if I was a parasite on your family. But now I guess you realize that the only parasites around here were you and your father. So you can threaten me with divorce all you want. It isn't going to change anything now. Whatever happens next is entirely up to your dad and you. Well, wait a second. Does that mean that you're just going to abandon me like this? You're really going to just leave me like this all over a little mistake? Don't you get that you're still like a mother figure or something? Doesn't that mean you have to take care of me? A real mother wouldn't just abandon her daughter like this. Weren't you the one calling me a fake mother anyways? I'm sorry, but it is far too late for you to try and change your tune now. I don't believe it. I can't believe that you're really just going to walk out of our lives and leave us like this. Oh, I think it's perfect. Besides, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. But I knew that it would be best to wait until you finished high school before leaving your dad. But anyways, I thought you would be a little more grateful to me since I paid for all of your college applications. Although you probably didn't even know that I was the one who did that either. Oh, right, that actually reminds me. You should know that you only have until the end of the month to leave the house. I don't get it. This is all so much at once. What do you mean I'll have to leave the house? I live here. This is my family's house. I'm afraid you were wrong again. This house was just a rental. You can't be serious about that, right? I haven't lied to you about a single thing yet. Why would I lie about this? Anyways, I was also the one paying for our house, but I've already moved out and informed the leasing company that I would like out of my lease. So you basically don't have any choice but to leave. I don't know what you're going to do with your life from here on out, but you're already 18, so you should be able to figure something out. And I really have to move out by the end of the month? But that's in 3 days? Oh yeah, I guess it is. Well, I suppose that means you better get packing, huh? How the heck am I going to move out all of my things in just 3 days? And where the heck am I supposed to go from here? Oh, that? I've already talked to your dad all about that. Wait, really? What did you say to him? Well, I told them that I wanted you both out of the house and that he should look for some place for you both to live. That doesn't solve any of the problems that I have right now. I am trying to ask where the heck I should even go. Yeah, that really isn't my problem. But if you're still in the house after 3 days, legally speaking, you would be trespassing. And then I suppose that would mean the police would have to get involved, and I don't think any of us want that, so. Well, what about my school? They are demanding that I pay my tuition or else I'll have to drop out. Oh man, this sounds rough. Oh, come on. Is that really all you have to say to me about this? I thought you were my mother. We've already talked about that. I am not your mom and I don't owe you anything. If you want to go ask your father, maybe you can convince him to take out even more money to pay for your school. Otherwise, you'll just have to go into debt to pay for it. Either that or you can go out and find a job. Because I already told your dad that I was done paying for anything of yours. But anyways, if you're looking for someone to blame for all of your money troubles right now, I would go talk to your dad. But this can't be. Neither my dad or I have a single cent left, and now we're about to be kicked out. What are we supposed to do, Mom? Sorry, were you talking to me? Because I don't know where your mom is. What are you talking about? You've always been my mom. I've always thought of you that way. Okay, now we both know that is just a lie. But anyways, your father and I are divorced now, which means that you're finally free from me. I thought this is what you wanted. Anyways, this conversation is just going in circles now. Have a nice life, Jenny. Or don't. I don't really care either way. In the end, Jenny and Daniel barely managed to pack up all their things before they had to leave the house and found themselves homeless. The next semester rolled around and, unable to pay, Jenny was forced to drop out. She tried to reach out to me again, begging for money, a house, food, anything. But I told her that she wasn't getting a penny from me. She thought that I was the one stealing all of her father's money, but he was the one who wouldn't have been able to survive without my help. I tried to warn Jenny that she would have to be more self-sufficient, but she just wouldn't listen. So I really just can't bring myself to feel any kind of pity for her. If you ask me, Jenny and her dad got exactly what they deserved. As for me, after my divorce from Daniel, I moved back to live with my parents for a little bit. I explained what I had been through, and they were more than happy to take me in while I found my feet. It really just goes to show you how important being kind is to those who care about you. You never know when you're going to need help, and it's good to have connections with people who care about you. Even if it wasn't my parents, I had plenty of people who I could go to for help because I always approached the issue of asking for it with humility and tact. I can only hope that Jenny learns a similar lesson as she grows up and gets to reflect on her words and actions.
Hey, how the preparations coming along?
Preparations for what?
The move, of course. I told you, we're gonna be living with my mom now. We're all gonna live together. We have to move by the end of the month, so make sure you get everything ready. You're gonna make things difficult for me.
I don't think I ever agreed to that.
Okay, and? Just agree already.
What do you mean, just agree? I already told you I wasn't interested in living together. I'm pretty sure I told you before. Why is that the story now? I don't want to live with her. I'm pretty sure I said I don't want to from before we got married.
Yeah, but come on, relax a little bit. After Dad passed away, Mama's lived all alone by herself. We have to live together so that you can support her.
I've told you before.
And?
What do you mean, and? What are you going to do, Justin? What about work?
Well, I have work. I can't go home from my workplace. I'll end up having to come and go from work, but once my job calms down, I'll put in my papers to move. I'll talk to my boss about it.
So in other words, you're basically sending me off to your parents' house, right?
Mom seems to be a little worried to live alone anyway, and the household chores seem to be getting to her. If you go and help her out, it'll be great. That's what you can do as my wife.
You realize that I have work too, right? Why did you decide that on your own?
Shut up, Jesus! That's your job as my wife! Stop complaining! Just shut up and do as you're told! Your job isn't that big of a deal anyway. You can just quit. It's not that important.
I told you I didn't want to live with her before I got married. I had my reasons. You know that, right? It's because your mom lives alone, right? If you want to take care of your mom, you should just go home frequently.
Even if you live with my parents, nothing should really change.
Our house right now is perfectly in the middle between our houses. I don't want to move at all. Why are you suddenly choosing that kind of important talk on your own like that?
Oh my God, you're so annoying! That's what wives do. You're supposed to listen to me. You're only allowed to do as you're told. If you can't do that and listen to me, why don't you just leave?
What?
If you don't like it, if you really don't want to live with Mom that badly, why don't you just leave?
So in other words, you're going to ignore my opinion and to take your own opinion into consideration only, right?
I didn't say that.
But that is what you're saying, right? You want me to shut up. You want me to shut up and just listen to what you have to say, right? I have no right to continue working or any right to say I don't want to live together, right?
You're so annoying. Why do you keep complaining?
Complaining? What do you mean? I'm just expressing my own concerns. If that's what you think of it, then I'm done.
Ah, so you finally get it. Get all the stuff ready for the move then.
I already have everything ready for the move.
Huh? Were you off work today or something?
I took off work to get ready.
Oh, look at you. You seem to be very prepared, which is unlike you. If you were already okay with all of that, then what was this whole thing about anyway? Why did you argue with me? You really don't make any sense, do you?
Oh, I meant I got ready to move on my own. When you were talking to me yesterday, I couldn't just believe my own ears what I was hearing. So I got ready to move out on my own.
Huh? What do you mean?
I'm going to be leaving this house. Please divorce me.
What? Divorce? Why are you joking about that? That's not funny at all. All it does is piss me off during work, so please stop.
I'm not joking at all. I'm being very serious. Maybe you'll finally understand the severity of your abuse. I don't need a husband that doesn't listen to me at all. I don't want you at all.
What is that attitude, young lady? Do you want to be chased out of the house?
Well, I'm not really being chased out. I'm just leaving on my own will. I already have everything packed and ready. I'm actually about to leave right now.
Are you serious? You're being serious right now?
I've been nothing but serious.
Why would you do that? Why do you want to get a divorce?
Because you keep saying that you want me to live with your mom, and you won't let off, even though I've already said no. The only reason that you want me to live with them is for the inheritance. You want to get more than your sister and brother, right?
What? What are you talking about? I haven't thought of that at all.
If your wife lives with her, I'm sure you can look good on the will. You want to chase me out and spend more time with your mistress, too. It's killing two birds with one stone, right?
Mistress? What are you talking about, seriously? I don't understand what you're saying. What exactly are you telling me here?
I think you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You thought that I didn't know about your affair?
I'm not having an affair. I would never cheat on you.
Okay, yeah, sure. I already have all the evidence I need, so I don't really care what you tell me from here on out. I will definitely be suing you for all the damages, though.
What evidence?
Yeah, you've been way too suspicious. I had you under a microscope. I even had a private investigator hired. I have all the evidence I need.
A private investigator? You went that far?
So I was just waiting to figure out what the best time to divorce you would be. And then you went and talked to me yesterday.
What are you talking about?
You even said it again, but if you don't want me to live with her, then I need to leave the house, right? You told me that I wouldn't live with her, from before we got married even. And I could kind of understand if both of us were to live with her, but come on, man, give me a break. You want me to live in the middle of nowhere, and you're just gonna fool around with your mistress.
I never said that to you.
But that is what you were thinking, right? Just so you know, I saw the text from yesterday. I read all of it.
Huh? Wait, my phone? You already locked in my phone?
Yeah, I checked. The annoying woman will be leaving soon, so you'll be able to live with just Alyssa. That was her name, right? Man, there were so many hearts in your messages. It honestly sent a shiver down my spine.
What is that attitude? It has nothing to do with you.
Ah, you're right. It doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. I'm going to be getting a divorce from you anyway. As long as you pay for damages, I'll just live my own life freely.
Damages? Are you seriously gonna sue me?
Of course I am. Why did you think that I wouldn't sue you?
Wait, so you're serious about the divorce too? You don't want to live with my mom that badly?
How many times do I have to say that I don't want to live at your parents' place? And I don't even get along with your parents. I have to live with just them? Just because you want the inheritance. You're not allowed to use me like that.
That wasn't why I was trying to get you two to live together.
Okay, well, anyway, no matter what I said, you wouldn't listen to anything and completely ignored me. So I have decided that we are not going to be able to work. So I have all the proof about your affair, and I have already sent it to your job and mom, just so you know.
What? You sent all of the proof to my company? And my mom? You realize that people won't trust me anymore.
I mean, it's your fault. You shouldn't have done anything to lose your trust. I don't really care about what you have to say.
You're really not thinking about me at all. If the office finds out about this, I won't have any standing.
I don't care about people who don't care about me. So don't talk to me about caring.
I'm sorry, I'll think about you, so please rethink sending the proof.
I already sent it. I don't know what to tell you. I sent it a second ago, so I'm sure it'll be there tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
What am I supposed to do? If the company finds out, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I kind of figured. You used your standing in the company to cheat with the new employee. I don't think anyone will respect you anymore as a leader.
Do you realize how people will be looking at me? Please stop this and get the proof back. I'll do anything, I swear. If you want me to, I'll even go back to my parents' house with you. I'll put out the transfer request immediately.
I knew you were able to put in transfer requests, but you never actually did anything for me, did you? So in other words, you don't want to do anything for me, right? And then you just pushed your agenda onto me, even though I didn't want to.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry you've made your point. Please, let's not get a divorce. I don't want to make a big deal out of this.
We're going to get a divorce for sure. I'm not going to go home. From here on out, what you can do is before I take things into court, you just pay all of the damages that I ask for. Alrighty, I'll be looking forward to seeing what happens when the proof reaches your office. Justin's office received all the proof in the morning. Everyone found out about his affair in the office too. Him and his mistress were both called up by the boss, and they were both questioned as to what happened. Unfortunately, his mistress was one of the executive's relatives. Justin was forced to take the blame and resign from his job. As a result, he lost his job and lost most of his savings paying off damages. And so he ended up running back to his parents' house and begged his mom to let him live with her. He has no job and went back to his parents' house, so his mom also kind of treated him like a nuisance.
Hey,
Hey there, Hillary. I just saw that you made reservations at my husband's restaurant, but was that a mistake by chance? Or were you just too stupid that you forgot where you were making a reservation at? Rhonda, what are you talking about, and what makes you think that you can talk to me that way this early into a conversation? Well, I'm just saying, you do know that my husband's restaurant is one of the top French restaurants in the whole city, right? And I really don't think it's the kind of place that people of your standing can afford to eat out at. If you must know, we are going out to celebrate our anniversary. That's why we're splurging and chose your husband's restaurant. In fact, we're really looking forward to getting to eat out there since it's so difficult to get reservations in the first place. Wait a second, you mean that you were going to come in to celebrate yours and your husband's wedding anniversary? You were really going to come out to my husband's restaurant to do that? Don't you think that doing something like that to celebrate your anniversary is just a little, I don't know, childish? Not really. How is a dinner date with your husband childish at all? And even if it were, it's not really any of your business how we decide to enjoy our anniversary. And it's even less of your business to even be commenting on it. But you're the ones that are going to be coming to our restaurant, yes? So surely I'm allowed to have feelings about it. Besides, you know that a French restaurant is a very grown-up place, don't you? We can't have children like you and your husband ruining the atmosphere for everyone. Well, thankfully there won't be any children there anyways. My parents were going to watch our kids while we go out. So this was just going to be a date for the two of us, so you can rest easy knowing that no children are going to be there while we're at your restaurant. Wow, you mean you even went so far as to find sitters for your silly little date? But can you really even call yourself a mother if that's how you treat your kids? You just slough off having to watch them so that you and your husband can pretend that you two are kids again? Is that really what you think a good parent does? Rhonda, I think that you are acting absolutely ridiculous right now. I mean, what are you even complaining about at this point? The fact of the matter is that we called to make a reservation and the restaurant accepted it. I really don't see what the point is in dragging out the topic any longer than that. It's already done. More importantly, like I said, this really doesn't have anything to do with you anyways, so I would appreciate it if you could just mind your own business. You really have some nerve talking to me like that. Don't you know who I am, after all? I think that you're the wife of the person who actually owns the business that you're talking about. So I don't really see why you think you can tell my husband and I where we can or can't eat. So if you could just let my husband and I enjoy our anniversary in peace, that would be greatly appreciated. It's just really sad. I can't help but feel bad for you. I mean, I know how poor you and your husband really are. I bet that even if you two could eat at our place, that you would only order the cheapest things on the menu and then leave without even leaving a tip for the waitstaff. Why are you being like this, Rhonda? There is no need to be this rude, you know? And we are more than able to afford eating at your restaurant, thank you very much. I don't know where you got the idea that my husband and I were poor, but it simply isn't true at all. What are you talking about? Of course you're poor. I mean, I've seen the way that your son dresses. He only owns one shirt, and don't even get me started on talking about your fashion sense. They aren't rags, it's just that our son really likes that character from his show, so we bought him multiples of the same shirt. You sure do have a lot of excuses ready to go, don't you? You know that you don't have to lie to me, though, right? I am seriously getting sick of you, Rhonda. You need to stop making so many assumptions about my family. And I don't need you speaking bad about my husband or son either, do you understand? We are literally giving your business our money, and you still have the gall to insult me?
Did you really think that we were going to let you into my restaurant when you pulled up in a piece of junk car like that? I don't ever want to see you come near my shop again.
Is this Marcus? As in Rhonda's husband, Marcus? You have really got some nerve kicking my husband and I out of your place like that. Do you know that? But I guess you are the owner after all, aren't you?
That's right. That's why I had to throw you out of my restaurant like scraps to get tossed into the dumpster at the end of the day. After all, my business is my reputation. And I can't have people like you and your husband ruining it.
Well, you should know that Rhonda and I know each other, although I can't exactly say that her and I are good friends at all. But something tells me that you already knew that, and that's why you did what you did.
I don't care about who you know. It doesn't matter to me.
But then, I don't get it. If you didn't kick us out to make your wife happy, then why did you do it?
It is like I already told you. I have to protect my restaurant's reputation, and that means that I can't have any grubby little pores like you running around and ruining people's appetite. Folks like you shouldn't even be allowed to sit down and eat anywhere if you ask me.
Do you really hate people that are less well off than you that much? I know that your restaurant has a reputation of being really fancy, but I think it's just incredibly rude for you to be treating us this way. How can you kick out paying customers who didn't do anything wrong? What kind of business does that? Do you really think that treating your customers like that is going to protect the reputation of your business?
I think that kicking you out is the best possible thing I could have done to keep my real customers happy. Besides, it's clear that if I let you eat, that you wouldn't have been able to pay for anything in the end. You would have just caused a big scene, wouldn't you?
Do you mind telling me just why you think it's okay to look down on my husband and I like this when you don't even know who we are? I would have hoped that we could at least talk about this like adults.
If you think that you're worthy of being treated like that at all from me, then you are sorely mistaken. Ha 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 ha.
And just what makes you say that? What makes you think that you know anything about my husband and I?
Oh, I saw all that I needed to do when your clunker pulled into my parking lot. That told me that all I needed to know about you two.
And tell me, is this a restaurant policy of yours? Because when we did pull in, we didn't see any signs about being judged by what kind of car we would be in. And if you must know, we were in that car because my husband and I were coming to your restaurant straight from work. But what I want to know is where you had specified the kinds of cars that were or weren't allowed to come to your restaurant. Because you can't just make up rules that the customers would have no idea about.
I am getting sick and tired of listening to these poor grumblings. What I want to know from you is why you sought to insult my restaurant by coming in that car of yours. You threw the first stone when you failed to show the proper level of respect to my establishment. Got it?
I'm sorry, but kicking us out is going to be the worst decision that you ever made as a restaurateur. You are finished after this.
Oh yeah? I would have liked to see you try and take me down. You can't do anything to me.
Oh, you're right. I won't be the one taking you down, though. That job will go to my husband. You might want to start looking into another industry because your restaurant, as you know it, is basically done for.
Ha 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 ha. You poor folks really say the craziest things sometimes. Do you know that? What could you or your husband do to affect my restaurant at all?
Well, you do know that my husband manages an important trading company, don't you?
What trading company are you talking about? Have you actually lost your mind or something?
No, I'm being completely serious with you. The fact of the matter is that neither my husband nor I are poor in the slightest.
But that can't be right. You showed up to my restaurant in your crappy little car. Only a poor person would have a car like that.
Well, we got a call from a client saying that they needed some help moving some things, so that's what we were busy doing until our reservation. We went to go and help a client of ours so that we could protect the reputation of our business. Sound familiar? And thankfully, we could do everything we needed with that little truck, so that's what he used.
Oh, come on. You really expect me to believe all that?
I don't care if you don't. The fact of the matter is that it's true. And now my husband is going to make you rue the day that you were born. So prepare to kiss your restaurant goodbye.
I don't care what you say. If you're having to help out your clients yourself, then your company surely can't be that big. You're probably just mid to small size little mom and pop shop that thinks you're far important than you really are.
Do you have any idea what being a trading company even means? We move the goods that keep society flowing. So the French imports that your place relies on to promote itself as authentic, for example, are carried through our freight.
Wait, what? No, that can't be right at all. This is ridiculous.
Are you sure about that? I guess we'll see who is right tomorrow then, won't we? We're going to make you regret the way that you treated us. It's going to be too fun watching you crash and burn.
You really think that you could scare me with these empty threats? I'm not scared of you. I'll never be scared of what some pathetic little person who doesn't understand how the world works has to say to me.
Well, okay then. If you're really still not going to apologize after all I've told you, you'll just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. I hope business goes well for you.
Hey, it's Hillary, right? You need to get in contact with your husband right away. How am I supposed to do business like this, huh?
I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be a little more specific with that. I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about. Besides, is that any way to speak to someone that you're going to have to beg for help?
You really think that you're going to get away with this? You're going to drive me into the ground at this point.
So I take it that means you haven't gotten some of the shipments of food you need to run your business for the day, right? I did try to warn you that something like this would happen, didn't I?
This isn't a joke, okay? Did you read the message that I sent you? How in the world am I supposed to operate my business like this? I know that this is your doing. You were the one saying all those weird things to me yesterday. But I need the food here now. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to open.
So then you're reaching out to me because you think that I can help you get those supplies that you so desperately need? Because honestly, I don't really feel all that obligated to help you out at all. And my husband feels the same way too.
Are you kidding me? I am being serious here. You can't do this to me.
In fact, we were actually reading some review of your restaurant last night, and while everyone seems to agree that the prices are high, the reviews of the food itself are quite mixed.
You're talking about my restaurant? That can't be right at all. And anyone who thinks that my food isn't good needs to have their tongue medically examined.
Are you sure about that? I suppose I can't exactly say for myself since you kicked my husband and I out of your place before we could make up our minds. After all, that was one of the reasons why we chose to go to your place to begin with.
And just what is that supposed to mean, huh?
Well, I actually wanted to go to a different place for our anniversary, but my husband insisted that we go to your place. We were worried about having to take our children with us at first, and I told my husband that they wouldn't enjoy French food. But then, when my parents said they could watch our kids, there was basically nothing else keeping us from going.
That still doesn't explain anything to me at all. Just tell me why you're doing this to me.
Well, my husband really enjoys eating out at the restaurants that he helps supply food to, though if your character is anything to base your food off of, it must not be that great anyway.
Those two things have nothing to do with one another. You can't just judge my cooking when you haven't even tried it.
Well, I suppose it's far too late to try and remedy that now, right?
No. The problem here is that your husband is trying to hold me and my restaurant hostage right now.
And I'm not sure what any of that has to do with me, personally.
Oh, come on. Surely this has to go against some contract that him and I have had to have signed to do business, right? I order goods and he delivers them. I'd paid for a service that he isn't providing. Doesn't he know I could sue him for this?
You might have a point there if it weren't for the fact that you've been paying on credit for some time now.
Wait, how do you know about that?
Because the person you do your business with is my husband, not that you even noticed when we were in the restaurant, though. Anyways, my husband told his overseers to stop any shipments to your restaurant until you've cleared your tab with his company. It's either that or you'll have to find a new supplier.
I don't believe it. Your husband would really do that to me?
That's right. But if you'd like to complain about it, I'd rather you direct your complaints to him instead. I can't really do anything, and I certainly don't want to read all your complaints through text.
Well, the only reason I'm reaching out to you is because I don't know how to reach your husband. And just how was I supposed to know he was some big business guy anyways? Besides, he can't just involve our businesses in what is clearly a personal dispute. It's cowardly.
Really? You think that doing something like this is cowardly?
Of course it is. What kind of professional even acts like this? It's just ridiculous.
That's funny because I was thinking the exact same thing yesterday.
And just what is that supposed to mean? Huh?
Well, I suppose you've heard a little bit about us from your wife, right?
Well, sure, she talks about you now and then. But I only half pay attention, really.
And I suppose it's probably because of your wife that you think my husband and I are so poor, right? And that's what led to you treating us the way that you did. You didn't treat us like customers, you treated us like garbage.
But I mean, the truck that you guys come in was filthy. How was I supposed to know that you weren't really poor?
I don't know why you think you can guess that much about people's lives just from the car that they drive. But I guess that's all the reason you need to chase us out, though. Now you tell me, is that any way for a professional to act towards his customers? I don't think someone like you even deserves to have a business, personally.
So what? You're really just going to ruin all the hard work I've done because you don't like me?
No, Marcus. What happens next is entirely up to you. If you can find another seller, then you should be able to be back up and running by next week. Otherwise, you can pay the debts that you already owe to my husband. It's entirely in your hands.
Hillary, can you please tell your husband to stop this? I'm begging you.
You mean you want me to talk to him on your behalf?
That's right. If we can't get our supplies in right now, then things are going to be really bad. I don't know how long it's going to take to find a supplier that can get me everything that I need. I don't know how long my restaurant is going to stay open without the food coming in from your husband.
A very interesting proposal, but I think I'm going to pass.
Please, you can't do this to me. I'm really begging you here. I need your help.
And I'm telling you that I don't think I owe you anything after the way that you treated my husband and I. You and your horrible wife. Although I guess I see how you two ended up together now.
Okay, that is it. You can talk bad about me all you want, but you will not talk bad about my wife.
I think I just did. And I was really only being honest. You two really are a good match for each other, it seems. But don't worry, you aren't ever going to see my husband or I in your restaurant ever again. For however long it manages to stay open, that is. Have a nice life after that happens, jerk. After that, Marcus tried desperately to look for a new supplier to bring him the ingredients that he needed to stay open. Meanwhile, the bad reviews of his restaurant continued to gain attention as people wondered why the restaurant was closed on days it would normally be open. And why were they missing so many things from their menu? Needless to say, the restaurant was on its final legs. I heard that Marcus and Rhonda started getting into more and more fights after that, and in the end, they divorced. It was then that Marcus came to my husband begging for his help. But he simply ignored him. Marcus was only going deeper and deeper into debt until he was eventually forced to declare bankruptcy. But I say that he and his wife got exactly what they deserved. As for my husband and I, our lives really didn't change much. We offered special deals with other French restaurants in town who needed similar ingredients as what Marcus normally ordered from us. In this way, we didn't have to let any stock go to waste and were able to divert what Marcus would buy into other customers' businesses. And now, with Marcus's restaurant out of the way, there was actually a flourishing of French places to eat in town. So in a way, Marcus's restaurant failing has now put our town on the map as a hub of French cuisine. I guess it just goes to show you that you should never assume you're too big to fail.
James, where are you right now? You're done with work already, right? It's already past your regular work hours. Did something happen?
I'm sorry to worry you. Everything's fine, no worries. I just have more work to be done today. I'll be home after I finish this. Maybe about an hour or so.
What? Another hour? Why? What's taking you so long?
What do you mean, why? There's urgent work that needs to be done before tomorrow. I'll just finish this and I'll head straight home.
Why would you do such a thing? What are you going to do with dinner?
I'll be done after about an hour. But if you're starving already, just go ahead and eat before me.
Eat before you? What do you expect me to eat. There's nothing edible I can eat for dinner. And you call yourself engaged to me? Are you seriously thinking we can get married in this state?
What's wrong? What are you talking about? What do you mean by not being able to get married in this state?
First of all, you don't cook dinner. I can't eat dinner because there's nothing else to eat. Also, we are going to become husband and wife soon. I can't believe we're going to eat separately. This is unbelievable. Couples don't eat separately. Families don't eat separately, too.
I'm sorry about that. I'll try to go home as early as I can. I just told you that if you're starving already, you can eat ahead of me. Because I felt bad to make you wait. That's just what I wanted to say to you.
That's not what you're thinking of me means.
What are you saying?
All I want is to eat together with you. You don't understand me at all, James.
You're right, Alyssa. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, you know what? I just noticed that you didn't clean the bathroom.
I think I forgot to clean the bathroom yesterday. I'm sorry about that too.
Are you fine with that? You're not bothered at all? That the bathroom is not clean? You think you can become a husband with that kind of behavior? You've been slacking off ever since we got engaged. How can I expect you to be a good father to our future children?
I'm sorry. I'll apologize for that, but why is it that I have to do all the chores at home?
Huh? What are you complaining about? That's a given, you know. My father used to do all the chores at home. My mother was also working, so Dad did most of the chores at home. That's why you need to do the same too, James. Just like my father used to.
But haven't you been helping me with household chores before we got engaged?
That's right, before we got engaged. But after our engagement, we lived together, so things will be different from now on. I will be managing your payroll, and you will do all the chores at home from now on. If you won't do that, I can't marry you.
What? You won't marry me if I don't do all the chores? But I work too, you know. What kind of twisted thinking is that? So, are you saying that the reason why you helped with the household chores is it because we weren't living together?
That's right. Now you're starting to understand me. Now that we're living together, we can see what we'll be like when we get married, right? That's why I thought that. I might want you to become aware of these things. If you're going to be my husband, you need to become aware of your role as a husband. These things I told you about are common sense.
But you know what, Alyssa? We're different from your parents. We're not your parents. I think it would be better for us if we find our way of doing things. Don't you think so too?
What do you mean by that? I don't get where you're going at all.
There are more times when I arrive home later than you, and so I won't be able to cook dinner for us all the time. We can make it work by being more flexible with our thinking, How about the one who comes home first cooks dinner? If we don't do it like that, I think it will be difficult for me to cook all the time.
Are you telling me to do the household chores as well? When I'm also working just like you are? How could you ask me to do that? That's too much of you to ask from me.
Too much? What do you mean too much?
My dad never asked my mom to do the chores at home. Not even once. You're unbelievable, James. Do you seriously want to marry me with that attitude?
Of course I want to marry you. That's the whole point of proposing to you. But frankly speaking, to do all the chores by myself without help from you is impossible. It's only been a week since we started living together, but never have I expected you to not do anything at all. That's why I'm starting to feel tired now.
How awful of you to say that. I never expected you to say such a horrible thing.
Also, if that's what you wanted to do all along, I wish you told me about it before we lived together. I wanted to discuss it with you and decide together too as a couple. But the moment we started living in together, you told me to do everything because you don't want to do house chores. Since you told me that after we started living together, I was of course shocked by that. It's just a normal reaction for someone to be surprised by something bad.
Ugh, James, you really are the worst.
What? Why do you think so?
Never would I have ever thought that you're that kind of man. What do you mean? Because by refusing to do the chores at home, you're implying that household chores are what women do. I never thought that's how you think of women as. You're too horrible. I feel like you've betrayed me.
What are you saying? Do you even hear yourself? I'm sorry, I don't understand you at all.
You're busy at work, so you're telling me to do the chores at home.
That's not it. You're not understanding me. What I was trying to tell you is that we need to cooperate to make this thing work.
My dad never said that to my mom because he respected my mom's work.
But aren't your parents divorced?
Why would you say that? That's irrelevant from what we're talking about right now.
You're right. I'm sorry about that.
If you won't understand me, we'll break off our engagement.
What? You're breaking off our engagement for this minor reason?
That's right. But it's not a minor reason, and it means a lot to me.
Our wedding is next month, you know.
That's right. That's why we would be troubling a lot of people. I'm going to demand alimony too from you, you know. So brace yourself.
Are you seriously saying that? Are saying that if I don't agree to do all the household chores for the rest of my life, you're going to break off our engagement?
That's right. You heard me correctly. If you don't promise to do that, I'll be calling our wedding off and you won't be able to marry me. You don't get paid much and you don't look that good. But I chose you because you look like you're going to help me with household chores. If this is the case, I should have been better off marrying my ex-boyfriend.
So you didn't choose me for me, nor because you were attracted to me. You chose me based on whether I will do chores or not after we get married?
Of course that's a given. It's common sense. Did you think that you have good qualities, other than good at cooking and a good homemaker? I'm sorry to hit you with the truth, but you're not attractive at all. Other than those qualities I've mentioned earlier, the only reason why I agreed to marry you was because you looked like you would do the chores at home after we got married. No other reasons at all whatsoever.
You really are quite frank, aren't you?
That's why, if you can't do everything I said, I won't marry you. You should pay alimony and break off our engagement.
Understood, just as you said.
I'm glad to hear that you understand me. Come home as early as you can, okay? Of course, you should prioritize home instead of work, okay? My dad used to come home on time every night, so...
No, what I meant by understood is, I understood that we will break off our engagement.
Huh? What are you saying? That joke is not funny at all.
That's because it's not a joke.
What do you mean it's not a joke?
The house is under my name, so will you please leave the house? You still have some things left in the previous house, so it's not yet being cancelled, right? Because you said that you'll leave it that way until we get married. You'll probably be able to go back to that house now, right? I don't think it's too late yet.
Wait a minute. I don't follow what you're saying. What do you mean? Are you trying to kick me out?
If you want to stay in our current house, you can change it to your name. Because I will leave instead. But I was the one who covered all the expenses for moving in, and if you want to live there, Alyssa, then I would be glad if you would cover my expenses moving out. Because I will have to look for a different place, you know.
Are you saying that? Does that mean you're going to cancel our wedding?
I think that's for the best. Let me tell you frankly, I can't become like your father, Alyssa. I wanted us to search our path and live our own lives by our terms, but Now that I heard the only reason why you agreed to marry me, I don't think we'll become happy even if we get married.
I might have said too much, but how horrible of you to break off our engagement instantaneously.
You're the one who asked for it, didn't you? You forced me to choose whether to do all the chores at home despite having a full-time job, or to break off our engagement and go our separate ways. You said that earlier, remember? I love you, Alyssa. I didn't want to break up with you, but I can't do this anymore. I don't feel like we can be a couple anymore. Also, I won't pay alimony to you. It's a problem we both have. So I want you to pay for half of the cancellation fee for the wedding ceremony.
What? Cancel the wedding? Are you seriously asking me to pay for the cancellation?
We won't be getting married, so of course we're not going to have a wedding ceremony. I mean, I paid for all the expenses for the wedding ceremony, so you should pay half of the cancellation fee to me.
Wait a minute. Everything is happening so fast. I can't keep up with it.
There's one more thing I wanted to tell you. You took my bank's cash card and credit card from my wallet, didn't you?
Huh? Well, I did take it, but it was only because I need to manage our finances. So I thought it's just normal to do that.
Stuff like that? Don't you think it's normal to ask me first?
But I didn't think of using it for my own, so...
I wasn't done. Don't cut me off like that. I was out to meet a client outside the office and I couldn't make the payment, so I ended up having to go back and forth. That's why I'm working overtime. I even inconvenienced my clients thanks to your doing.
I didn't know that.
I can't live peacefully with someone who does things like that without asking me first. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to leave the house? Or are you going to pay for my expenses moving out and stay there yourself?
I want to get married. I already told everyone that I'm getting married, and I'm thinking of resigning next month. So I was preparing for that, but...
What did you just say? I haven't heard about that too. So, does that mean that you're going to become a housewife, manage my money, and make me do all the chores at home?
If you say it like that, it might sound like that, but I also have things to do, you know? Like preparing to welcome a baby when I get pregnant, and stuff like that.
You decide everything too much without consulting me. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have broken off the engagement. I will contact your parents and tell them the news and why we've come to this decision.
What are you planning to tell them? Are you seriously going to do that?
Of course I will. I don't know yet if I will be able to demand it in the form of alimony, but as for the cancellation fee for the wedding ceremony, I will definitely ask you to cover half of it. But I'm actually glad that I found this out before we got married.
I want to get married! Please, James!
If you want to find someone willing to do the chores for you, then you should strive to become rich and hire someone to do the household chores for you. That would make things easier, I think. Stop forcing your ideals on others. If you're planning on quitting your job when you get married, and if you don't even plan on doing the household chores, I feel really relieved that I didn't marry you. Anyway, leave immediately, okay?
After that, Alyssa tried to contact James several times, but James didn't take any of her calls, nor replied to any of her messages. James reported to Alyssa's parents what their daughter has done, and explained everything that happened. Rumors say that Alyssa's mother apologized to James, that she might have failed in raising her daughter. Alyssa ended up quitting her job. As the cancellation fee for the wedding, Alyssa borrowed money from her parents and was somehow able to pay James. Rumors also say that she went back to her hometown and started looking for work there. After that, she attempted to look for a partner, but with her age being 35 years old and her demands of making the man do the household chores, she didn't get matched to anyone at all. If your ambitions are too high, higher than what you deserve, I guess you won't end up happy.